Hey everyone, welcome to Brox and Max. It's 2 in the morning, as you can see right there. I guess I just make YouTube videos 24/7 just to appease everybody that watches my channel. So anybody that watches my channel, I really appreciate it. But I actually was out plowing snow and doing all sorts of other things. So I really haven't gone to bed yet. But I just got back from plowing, washed the truck down, and before I put it away, there's some shop space opened up. Figured I'd show you what we're up to. Now, I do have some videos of this thing that I've been working on, little bits and pieces. I haven't really made a big drawn out ordeal about it because I figured there would be no interest in it. So it's pretty much the end product. And I wonder, now that I have it all put back together, if I did it correctly and will it run? So I guess stay tuned for that. Kind of doing some refurbishing on and over the winter. Sandblasted it. Gonna give it some fresh paint. And here is the trough for where the bales get put down into that chute right there. And for some reason, the end piece that goes in like so was just not quite my kind of weld job. Obviously it's a wear point and somebody did some welding on it. And this isn't exactly what I would call a professional job. It's more like your friend has a friend has a friend who's a welder. Look at the backside of this. It's horrendous on the outside. This is absolutely embarrassing. So obviously this got cut off and I'm going to replace it. So a few hours later, this is what it has turned back into. Nice straight pieces, nice and flat. The hay is going to go into the chute nice and clean, nothing to snag on. And here's what the underside looks like. It's nice, professional welds. Fits in there like a glove, the way it's supposed to be. Sandblasted everything, and the fuel tank has a leak. How I discovered that there was a leak? Well, overnight, that nice clean sandblast was sweating by all this diesel fuel. And I can't imagine why this actually leaked. Looks like good weld jobs to me, doesn't it? So once I cut this bottom out, you could see that too much penetration, and actually there's a good crack right there on both sides, really. So I'm going to weld in a new bottom and it'll be good as new. Well, here it is, all done. Got nice welds all the way around. This bottom piece is actually 3/16 stainless steel. Didn't want any type of rust going on with our fuels today. Doesn't seem to have the lubricity like it's supposed to have. So I will pressure test it, check for leaks, prime it, paint it, put it back on, and finish the project. Progress report on this hay blower here. I figured it's not worthy of making a whole video on it, even though I should have from stem to stern. I did. All of the brand new yellow has been sandblasted, primed, painted. We pulled the motor out to disassemble it, and as you can see, this is the original color of it. I didn't want to mess with this cluster of wires and all sorts of stuff on the back side of it. I did have to put a new wiring loom in it because the people before us apparently have no clue how to take care of stuff and just rig it any old which way, and that's really not what I'm about. I'm not about to have this thing lay down on me and have some stupid electrical failure while I'm running it on a job. I did update it to a Group 31 12-volt battery instead of a little car battery. It's probably overkill, but we kind of do that sometimes. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Came out pretty decent, and it's Kubota diesel. Our other one has a Wisconsin gas engine in it. It's just a little bit of upgrade for us. We do a lot of diesel stuff, so it just seems normal for us to want to have a diesel one. Well, here is the end product. After a few months here and there working on it, pretty much tore it down, right down to the frame, pulled the motor out, replaced everything. Fuel lines, electric system, there's a whole bunch of stuff that had to get replaced on this. For all of you that don't know what this is a Rheinco hay blower, straw blower. It's meant for exactly the term, blowing hay or straw down at the end of a job to prevent erosion, or if you have a job that you're putting topsoil down and you're planting seed and you want to put hay and straw on top instead of hydro seeding. This is kind of the old-fashioned way of doing it, but you know what? We're pretty much old-fashioned. Now, we've had one for years and years and years, and we still have that same machine, but the reason we bought this one is it has a 4-cylinder Kubota diesel, where the other one is a 4-cylinder Wisconsin gas engine. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, other than this company is pretty much all diesel. And we're trying to get out of anything that we have that's gasoline powered. Gasoline is just not what it used to be anymore. And if stuff sits around too long, then all of a sudden stuff gets gummed up and the carburetors start getting sticky. It's just not a fun time. So here this is, end product. This piece right here, that was all banged up and beat up. I'm not dissatisfied with this machine. I knew once I got it here, it was going to need a fair amount of work. The guy that I bought it from, it's not that he wasn't honest with me, but it took some strong arming for me to get him to admit that he only fixes stuff when it's broke. And literally everything got tore apart. We just replaced everything. We did fuel lines. We did a new electric harness because for some reason that got burned off once upon a time, and it was all electrical taped together. I just wasn't going to have that. And then I replaced the exhaust manifold, put a new muffler on, and basically cleaned up some parts. I'm pretty happy with it. Upon some grumbling with us having some power struggles here in the garage, I ended up having to make this. This is the hood. It was not born with a hood, but I guess I can understand why it should have a hood. And that's actually, this piece is, if you can envision what a John Deere loader looks like, this is a side transmission cover off of a John Deere 624, 644, something like that. So I made Daytona 500 style. I made these clips and put a trunk cylinder on it from AutoZone, and it acts like it was built like that. So you have access to the engine and all of your vitals. Check the oil, check the coolant, make sure there's no obstructions with the hay blowing all over this thing. I mean, it looks brand new now, but it's not going to look brand new soon, because literally it's just a self-destructing mess with all of the hay and stuff that blows all around when you're putting this stuff down. So let's see. Put this clip on. let's see if this piece of junk will run. When I took it all apart, literally took it all apart, all this yellow here is 6 or 7 large pieces. Hung them up on forklift extensions and our jib on the one forklift to make it all painted up nicey nice. Pretty happy with the result, and I don't know, I guess I wish it could have been like this when I bought it, but I don't know if that could have ever been the case. We're kind of picky. So anyway, let me set the camera down here, see if this thing will start up. I put some fuel in it. I did do a service, change the oil in it, put a new air filter on it, obviously new battery with a master disconnect. See what happens. The chute is kind of in the way, but no big deal. And then the nice part about this is about a 2004 from what I can tell, because it's got emission stickers on the valve cover of the engine. So when you turn the key, I don't know if you can hear that buzzing, but it's got an electric fuel pump, which is kind of handy. If you run this thing out of fuel, you don't have to worry about having to crack injection lines and do all sorts of wonky stuff. I know that when you do run certain diesels out of fuel, it ain't a good time. So I did have this completely out of fuel because I fixed the fuel tank. I put a gallon of fuel in it just to make sure that it would siphon, or it would pull that little bit of fuel from the bottom, and it sounds like it's pulling. So I'm going to put the camera down, let's find out. Well, that started in about no time flat. I don't know if you heard when I first started, it sounded like it had a knock or some wonky stuff. Well, the chains inside this hopper, when it chops up the hay, sometimes those chains kind of get out of balance, and it just takes bumping up the idle a little bit to make it run smooth. When I first looked at this and the guy started it for me, this thing was just scooting all over the floor. It was completely out of balance. I ended up finding a book for this online, and of course I bought it. And there's some methods to make sure that everything's balanced correctly so it runs smooth. I'm pretty impressed with how it runs, and it actually is nice and sturdy just sitting on this wheeled pallet here. So it is about 98% complete. The only thing that I'm lacking, and I'm just waiting for it to come in the mail, is this has a glow plug option. You run the key the opposite direction of starting it, and that has a, I don't know if it's a timer, but it's wired into this harness there. And I just gotta, it just didn't look right. It was too sun-baked. Like I said, this thing has been outside since day one. I don't know any of you viewers that have one of these and you have it sitting out in the snowbank, shame on you. Just put it away. Put a tarp over it at least. This thing was a complete mess. Yeah, I didn't have to buy it, but there isn't that many of them out there with a Kubota diesel. So I feel like I got a fair price buying it, but I also have quite a bit of time and extra money in it to replace A, B, and C here. But anyway, this is kind of what I've been working on, in between working on that piece of junk in the corner there. Glad it runs nice and smooth. I guess I'll catch you at the next one. Thanks for watching.